let's talk about the normal ending. We just saw the bad ending in the previous part, and I enjoyed obtaining the normal ending. If my voice sounds different, it's because I'm using a new settings on the microphone, but it's still the same microphone as the one in the last part. I apologize for all of the voice clipping. There was really nothing I could do outside of going back and re-recording everything, but I had already finished recording, editing, and making the thumbnail, so I figured I'll fix it for this part and see how well it sounds. Let me know. As you can see, we started right after we beat the final boss, but if you notice that the final boss, specifically from the bad ending, actually leads to a new section. This section is not accessible from the bad ending alone. And then from here you have a choice. You can either get the normal ending or the true ending, depending on your share count. You would go through this section, and it's actually quite easy. Not very hard at all. But it's still very long, which is why I'm still relying on all the speed-ups. As much as I don't want to rely on the speed-ups, if I didn't, these final chapters would have been maybe 10 parts per ending, which would have led to a 87-part series. And something tells me that a lot of people would not have watched it all the way through. When I go back to Rebirth 3, I am going to use the post-commentary system, because doing it live, I realized just how many episodes drag on for way too long. And that was never the intention. I always wanted the games to move fast while still having plenty of parts. Not to an excess, because if I kept going through Rebirth 3 the way I'm currently going, it would be a 200-part Let's Play, and something tells me no one wants to watch that. And now we have the fake final boss, which is R4 Maho and R4 Grey Sister. This final boss is also way too low level. Look at this. This is a lower level than the R4 fight. And it's also way too easy. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I actually beat this boss in one combo without actually switching away from Neptunia. Which I don't think is something that should happen. I think it should take more than one character to beat a boss like this. Seriously, look at how much we're bullying for Maho over here. Already at less than half health, and we're still just going through the combo with minimal effort, not even trying very hard. We then switch over to... Oh, I didn't even use the EXE. I just spammed AP moves. I didn't even use the attack meter. That's just there to show you the difference in stats and why I think this game is too easy. But that, at least this gives us a second form, which makes it tolerable. It's much more bearable when we have a second form here. Because otherwise, what would have happened would have been us just going through this fight and not really seeing much else. And now we have the Grey Sister fight, which is even easier because the game automatically puts you into CPU form. Although the EXE drive, I think at this point I already changed it to B, because when I did the bad ending it wasn't at B. The EXE drive makes it way too easy to get through this game. The story itself is still good. I'll keep defending the story, but that's about it. But you see, we're in the 80s. Early 80s, late 70s. Why are the enemies in the 60s? High 60s. But still not very high. What's very... Oh, exactly 70. Okay. We're gonna absolutely wreck this character. There's just no chance. Even if this game didn't have level caps, I'm saying that my difficulty select version would have made it really good to watch. But now the Grey Sister fight, what you're gonna want to do is stun her. Effectively, she's a more powerful mecha doll. If you can stun a mecha doll, you know how to stun Grey Sister, which makes these fights really easy. Although, I did waste too much time in the CPU transformation state, which prevented me from using RAM's EXE drive. But at the same time, I probably could have just used it anyways, if it not for the fact that the EXE ran out, due to the CPU state running out. I do like that this game actually has us use CPU forms as a last-minute crux, as opposed to a spammable mechanic. In the original Neptunia, I barely used Little Neptune. I was constantly in Purple Heart form, which makes sense given that Purple Heart is the one in the box and not Neptune. Well, default Neptune's in the back of the box.
Let's go.
So seeing Purple Heart made more sense. But at the same time, it did weaken the air of the goddesses actually being around. In fact, you don't even get to see the blonde, Noir, and Vert characters in a battle outside of their goddess form until after you unlock them. And now we have a new section. The ending has changed. What do I think about this ending? Well, it's effectively saying, hey, we're gonna infinite loop. In other words, it's a Super Neptunia RPG bad ending. Do I like that bad ending? It's okay. It's a game that I wish was canon, but sadly isn't. And you can see that Nepgear here really wants to defeat R4, but at the same time, I think that the other characters knew that it was not going to end out the way she believed it was going to end out. Which is why Maho decided, let's just loop to hell with actually stopping this. We're gonna go back in time. Oh, by the way, the rest of this part is just cutscenes. I'm not kidding. The normal ending cutscenes that are long, but they don't hold a candle to the true ending cutscenes. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to bet that the true ending cutscenes, if these were classified as cutscenes and not sound novel pieces, they would be longer than Metal Gear Solid 4. Significantly longer than Metal Gear Solid 4. That is one aspect of Neptunia that you kind of have to get used to. Just how much talking there is. I know the game's got a filler so that you can actually feel it was worth your price tag. But Neptunia games are really short. You know what? I'm gonna look up a speedrun. Neptunia Sisters vs. Sisters speedrun. How long is that? Neptunia Sisters vs. Sisters speedrun.
It'll be okay. I can erase R4.
Yeah, it's short. It's like 2 hours. Let me find it.
When someone interacts
not a gimmick speedrun, like just a regular speedrun. So
together, right?
The true ending speedrun on New Game Plus is 2 hours 6 minutes. The regular speedrun is 3 hours 23 minutes and 54 seconds. See, this is short, okay? That's about as long as it takes to speedrun the original Neptunia. But at least the original Neptunia, the cutscenes were so good that I didn't really care. Now, I did get an HD 60X Elgato create and play without compromise, using NVIDIA and G-Sync. I'm gonna open it up and talk about the contents. It says, unfiltered creativity, stream or record all content without watermarks and time limits. Awesome. Play in 4K 60 HDR10 or high frame rates such as 1080p 240 or 1440p 120. Now, I'm a big fan. Huge proponent of 1080p, 1440 120, and 2160 60, and 4K 144 were cool. Oh, admittedly, 4K 40 is good enough. People who have 4K 144, your PC is way more beast than mine. I can run 144 FPS. Problem is, YouTube doesn't let me upload it, so it doesn't really matter to upload it right now. I'd rather just record at 60 for more stable gameplay. But my highest graphics engine settings would be 1080p. And honestly, anything above 720p is vanity. It looks good enough. Unless your game is trying to be realistic like Heavy Rain, which even then isn't very realistic of a game, it's not going to look that much better. You know, I've seen 4K 60 cel-shaded Minecraft, and yes, I'll admit it looks better than what I'm playing. But at the same time, not by that much. Okay, opening the Elgato now. Let's see how it works.
We are one Maho.
You can probably hear it in the background as I'm cutting open this thing just to use it. Oh, there's glue on it. Of course there's glue on it. Yep. Why am I opening an Elgato during a recording of Sisters vs. Sisters, some of you may ask me? Well, the answer to that is actually quite simple. My grandfather got it for me. I graduated college and I started the master's program in September. Which means by the time you see this episode, I will already be in the master's program. Alright. Let's see what we got. Whoa. Game Capture HD 60. Download Elgato
My
4K capture
body
utility to get started, so it has to download
feels
something.
light.
Whoa, what the
This
hell?
kind of hurts. But
So
thank
this is
you.
what it looks like. It
I'm
looks like a
carrying
little
it until I
card.
could remember.
HDMI in, HDMI out.
I'm sorry it took me so
So
long.
I need
and I'm
2
sorry
HDMI
it ended
cables.
up this
Sure.
way.
I have to plug
The
it
other
into the
me.
computer,
I'm sure
the
that Casey will
USB into the
save
computer,
you. She said she'll do
and then I
something
have to
about
plug
it.
in the HDMI to
Just wait
whatever
in
game
the
system I want to
past,
use.
okay?
And then I download Elgato, and I move on. Simple enough. It doesn't seem to
My
have an
body is
instruction manual
crumbling.
anywhere, though.
My vessel is falling into ruin.
Really, there's just no instruction manual. It just links you to, well, not links you. It just has an image saying, go watch this YouTube video.
Let us stay here.
Man, I miss manuals, I really do. The only places that still have manuals are furniture, which kind of disappoints me, because I actually really like manuals.
I was wrong.
Maybe it's because, you know, I'm a old school gamer, so I like a lot of old games, and a lot of those old games you had to read the manual. If you didn't read the manual, you were not gonna get very far. You know, Zelda 1. I don't think I would have ever beaten that game without the manual. Nowadays, you can use the internet, but not me. No, I didn't think about that. I decided to use the manual. And back in those days, to show you how change,
This body is already at
I
its
used to
limit,
have to get the strategy
and I'm
guides.
all out of
Okay, I had the
replacements.
Halo 3 strategy guide, I had Sonic Adventure 1 strategy guide, Black and White 2 strategy guide, Black and White 1, and the Soul Silver Heart Gold strategy guide.
Other me.
If there is a Sonic Frontier strategy guide, I kind of want to buy it, not even because I need it, because I've already 100%ed that game, not counting the walkthrough for Update 2 that I'm going to do. Yes, Update 3 has not come out yet at the time of this recording.
Damn
I
you.
honestly thought there would be more to it, but it turns out you
you.
just plug it in, and then you just download it, and you can record footage.
I'm sorry I
I honestly thought it would be cooler. But I think I am going to need a laptop for it, because just using it with a PC, it's going to be a bit of a pain to drag everything.
Like I said
So I'll
before,
get the
your
laptop
C
and
will
record it
figure
on
out.
there, meaning that the video footage will be really good, but I will have very limited space. I only have about, well, not that little. I have
finally
500
obtained
gigabytes on
ultimate
it.
Power, and
It's good enough.
Stupid girl bested me.
Anyways, back to what's
See you
going on in the
later.
game. At this point,
vanish
they're
ahead
going
of
to
you.
use the Pair Annihilation
Give
to
my
defeat
regards to the past me.
Arthur. But instead of revealing that, oh,
It's not
Maho was
over.
corrupted by
I
this
won't
whole
vanish
endeavor,
yet. I have
instead what's gonna
transcended
happen
God.
is
I will take my chances and
R4
jump to the past.
will be sent back in time, and so will Grey's sister, which was sent back in time earlier in the story. Grey's sister will then use her powers, her superpowers, along with the
Where
Gehabern.
are we?
The Gehabern is the only sword that can defeat the
That's right.
CPU, although I think
were
most of
fighting
you already know that if
R4
you've already been playing
Maho.
Neptunia for a long time.
Everyone, wake up!
And then afterwards,
Sis,
afterwards,
You too.
what's gonna happen is she's gonna take the sword that
Where
has
are we?
Nepgear and all the other goddesses in it, and
That's
kill the
right.
R4.
We were fighting R4
Only for
just
her to go to
now.
sleep. You know, she'll have gone to sleep.
I just said that.
She'll lose all her memories, and then we start
We have
sisters
to look
versus
for
sisters
Maho.
again. In other words,
She has
like
to be
like I
nearby.
said before,
I'll go start
everything
looking.
is connected.
Okay.
There is no part of this story that is not
Man,
connected, and
we
I
should
do
go
like
too.
that. Okay, there's no wasted
Yes,
moments. There's not
Let's
needless
go look
filler.
for her.
But
I'll go with you, Nepgear.
you know, maybe it's because
Right.
we're playing
Thanks,
V2R right now, and there's so many freaking like bath scenes.
I think we're
But where the
safe,
hell's the fan
thanks to
service
the
in this game?
barrier provided by the
Seriously.
sealing device.
We have Henri with see-through clothing,
Yeah.
except we never
Not
get
only
to see
that,
her because
The game,
the game shows her from above the waist.
It must have been
The
consumed
cursing
by the
was toned
space-time
down
vortex
halfway through
caused
the
by
Let's
the
Play.
Annihilation.
You know, throughout the
was
Let's Play,
Maho's
you could hear
plan all
Aya swearing
along.
like a sailor, and then now that I'm here, she's not really
Hey,
saying very much at
You're
all.
not gonna go with Nepgear? That's
I'm
right.
willing to bet that's what happened to a
She
lot
needs
of the
to
English
face
dub.
and accept this on her
A lot of the
own.
English dub was probably just lost. And that scene there showed to me that Neptune is a true leader.
Where are you?
Okay? She
Answer me if
knows
you can hear me.
that what happened was sad and it's gonna affect Nepgear the rest of her life, but she's not gonna help her because she needs Nepgear to realize the truth. Okay? Neptune already accepts it. She may
Oh,
joke around
it's my
and be
Empire.
funny and have some meta humor, but at the end of the day, she's still the leader of a nation. She's
photo we took
effectively a
together.
politician. She has to know how to be serious when
said we'd be BFFs.
it is called for. And by goodness, she is.
Henri, she's waiting
Okay,
for you
maybe
too.
it's because I grew up in the 2000s. But I cannot stand the term BFF. I really can't. Just say we're supposed to be friends. You don't gotta say best friends forever. You know, and they do that fucking voice, okay? You know what voice I'm talking about. Like, if I did it, it wouldn't be right. If I did it, I would sound like a homosexual. But, you know, the girls, they did that, and you could tell what it is. Now, here we are, 12,000 years into the past. I kind of wish we got an SG-1000 reference.
What is
Or
this place?
maybe CPU Uranus showed up, although that would be really weird given that she was only a ruler for 5 years.
After
But
the
let's
battle,
ignore
I
that
was
for a
swallowed
second.
into the rift. But I made it out alive.
These characters are really nice, okay?
Yes, Master. Vitals are
Ziri is a
normal.
cool character
Vital
until you
scans have
realize that
nominal
she's just
values.
Ziri from Apple.
I see. So it
I
seems that
still
we got
couldn't
thrown
believe
into
that
the rift
F2P,
and
I
jumped
never
to
got the
another
reference
timeline.
until after David told me, and
So
we're
long ago, yeah.
maybe, what, 50 parts
Maybe
in?
it
How many
wanted a
parts in were we
billion
when
chance.
I realized that F2P... Not I realized,
I'd be so
when he told me
happy.
F2P was just
Ziri,
We
confirm
were
location and time period. How
47
far
parts
are
in?
we
That
from
can't be right.
Nepture's time?
Confirming.
Yeah, we were
Scanning air
47
and
parts
soil
into the
composition.
series when he told me, "Hey,
Scanning.
Miguel, F2P
Scanning.
is free to play," and I
Please
said,
wait.
"What? No way!
Ziri,
Unbelievable!"
you're taking your time.
But that's besides the point.
Scan complete. We are approximately
Yeah, of course she's taking her
12,000
time.
years
She's
behind the standard time.
12,000 years behind the standard
What?
time.
This is game industry from 12,000 years ago?
Affirmative, Master.
That far
I want to
back.
point out that modern humanity, as we know it, existed for about 6,000 years so far. Meaning
Observing.
that there wouldn't even be
Vibrational match
humans,
detected.
assuming humanity
These are
in game
created
industry
during
worked that
time
way.
travel.
Which means that there wouldn't be a
Someone
goddess
came back this
anywhere.
far,
Because the
too?
goddesses were born from the
Is it
faith of the
R4?
humans. So that means that this predates SG-1000. Okay, now I'm having a really bad memory hiccup here. Is it SG-1000 or SC-1000?
Is this...
Yes, it is
SC-1000.
just like the sealing device that was swallowed by the space-time rift at Planet Tower. There is
Neptunia.
no mistaking it. It is possible that it drifted through the rift all the way here.
Oh, I think it's
like we did.
SG-1000 then.
What a coincidence that it came here.
Perhaps this time period is acting as some
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
an
singularity,
SG-1000.
a constant. That's not totally unreasonable.
SG-1000 is a home video game console manufactured by Sega. It was
Manifestation
Sega's
of
first
great
entry into the
power
home video
occurred
game
in this
hardware
time
business.
period.
Developed in response to a
Protecting
downturn in the
space-time.
arcade starting in 1982,
The birth
the
of a
SG-1000
goddess,
was
perhaps?
created on the advice of Hayao Nakayama, president of Sega's Japanese arm, and was released on July 15, 1983, the same day that
Ziri,
Nintendo
are
released
we
the
located anywhere
Famicom
near
Disk
the
System in
future
Japan.
nations?
It also had a limited release in
Planet
Australia
Town
and New
seems
Zealand,
highly likely.
meaning that
I
it
see.
goes
Then
SG-1000,
12,000
then
years
Master
ago.
System,
I get
then
it.
Mega Drive,
Ziri, I know
then
what to do. I need your help.
Saturn. Oh, I
Yes,
forgot.
Master.
32X
I will
add-on,
help with
then
anything.
CD, then Saturn,
As
then
expected,
Dreamcast.
Everything is connected. I will make sure
One
I
would think
finish
that
it
the
this
Sega
time.
Neptune would be ahead of the Dreamcast because it was a canceled product. But at the same time, given that in the Sega Girls
I'm
game,
sorry, Nepgear.
Neptune was paired up against Saturn, I'm willing to bet that it would have predated the Dreamcast had Sega
Conservation
been
sequence initiated.
allowed to go even further
Initiating
ahead of schedule.
sleep.
And here we're back to the first cutscene where Nepgear gets completely knocked out. This is a Krypton. What a... It's cryo sleep. I was right. They ripped off Halo 5.
Why are you doing this?
Man, I honestly didn't notice how much of a ripoff this was of Halo 5. But the thing is,
soon enough, Nepgear.
not counting Maho's
your-
I'm going to become the goddess of everything speech, well, the goddess of game industry speech, it really
Your
just seemed
BFF.
like they were ripping off Halo 5 for a
That
second.
should do it.
Now, I know that Neptunia
Even if
takes a
she
lot of
comes,
plot
this
points
will
from
protect
various different
Nepgear.
series, it's not just that, but for this ending
12,000
specifically,
years was a long time.
that's what it feels like. Although the I will protect you, this also
Long-term
could be a
cold
reference
sleep
to
has dealt
Steins Gate.
serious damage to my memory.
Haho in Kyoma. You know,
It was
Okabe
just
Rintaro
as
decided
Ziri
to go back in
predicted.
time over and over again to protect Mayuri, who for some reason he kept calling
I
Mayushi.
can't forget about it yet.
Yeah, because her name was Mayuri
This is
Shina,
my
I believe.
final battle.
Why am I so off topic? This is a Neptunia video. Why do I keep talking about other series? What's gonna happen next is Grey's sister over here will be fighting the defeated Ad4 from the previous timeline. And we're going to kick their ass. Okay?
Did I succeed?
Her ass is going to be kicked. No, you did not, Ad4. Because Grey's sister will kick your ass.
Did it. I gambled and I won. The body of the Ashen Goddess should be
Too bad
stored
your
in this
victory is
time
short-lived.
period. I'll take that.
I've been waiting for you,
It
Arthur.
wasn't stored.
I knew
Ad4.
you would come.
Sorry.
Why are you awake? How did you know I would
You
be
know,
here?
R4 is tall.
I
Look at how much
arrived
taller she is
12,000 years
than
ago
Grey's sister
and have
over
been
here.
preparing for this entire
Why do they
time.
call her Ashen Goddess? Did they
Ironic
ever
how
give us an
Insect developed
explanation
the
for the name
trendy disc by
Ashen
using
Goddess?
My body sleeping in the capsule.
I don't think we were given one.
It's all
I don't.
connected now. Since the
Other than that,
beginning,
I think it's
it
been
all
really well
came
though.
down to this
The
very
game, the
moment.
story, everything.
The future me will be annihilated along with
Mm.
you. And you somehow barely survive, only to come to the past here.
Impossible! Impossible!
But not this time,
impossible! How
R4.
did I
We're
miss
going to
this?
use Gehabern.
I had you under my control, but I
Okay,
never
why did they
realized the
have her say
meaning of it.
impossible, impossible, impossible?
It's done.
It should have just been once.
Your parting gift has found its purpose.
That's a fragment of the Gehabern?
I knew it was strange. Why would Nepgear
That
leave
mean- wait,
behind the others and
R4.
take her own life?
You should notice, Nepgear
considered the possibility
loses
that he
in
had
one
survived.
timeline. Okay, there's a timeline where Nepgear dies.
That's why she let the Gehabern absorb
So,
her life just in case.
R4 technically won, even though she died in
Why?
that timeline because of
I was
Gehabern.
overcome by sadness. I committed so much destruction without thinking. I was a fool. I'm
Why
glad
didn't
I
Grey's
still
sister just
had
go
a
into
fragment
a
left.
timeline and
But
kill
I
R4
only
with that
have
sword?
Nepgear to thank for that.
And just never tell anything to the
Wait,
other goddesses. I
what are
think
you
they could have
trying
done
to do?
that.
It may only be a fragment.
Because there's two
but
R4s
since you're
going around.
weak
This
and you
R4 and
don't
there's another
have a
one.
body, this is more than enough to finish you
Oh no,
off.
it's not a... They didn't resurrect R4. That R4 actually died. This is just a different R4 in general.
Maho!
Hi,
Thanks,
Nepgear.
Now it can finally end.
Stop!
So does that mean that Nepgear's dead spirit talked to Grey's
This
sister through
victory
the
is for
Gehabern
me
piece?
and Gearsey.
That has to be a crazy feeling, you know? I can't think of anything else. You know, I would have honestly preferred it if they just called her Nepgear. They didn't need to call her Gearsey. I'm assuming that they have her call Nepgear
over.
Nepchi, I mean, Gyachi
Finally.
in the Japanese, which is why they decided to reuse Gearsey. But it just sounds so much like Uzume, even though it's a different actress, that I don't really feel anything about it at all. And now we get to the hospital scene where
Where am
Henri
I?
starts up
What am I
here
doing
and
here?
explaining who everyone is. Oh, my bad.
Huh?
We don't get the hospital scene yet. First, we need to
What do I
have
do?
Maho walk around without her
Can't remember
memories,
anything.
holding a Gehabern fragment.
What's this?
Hmm.
Some kind of fragment? Why would it be here? Huh?
So that's why she had the
No way.
Gehabern at the beginning of the game.
What is this?
Well,
I
just a
don't
Gehabern
understand.
fragment.
Hey, is anyone there?
Well, at least they did show that she did lose her memory. But the fact that she's been dooming herself to repeat this over and over again is kind of
Why?
ridiculous.
Why am I here?
At least
I don't know.
there are multiple timelines where the
I
characters
can't
win.
remember.
That is still victorious
It has
for
to
them.
be something real important.
Wait, really? It doesn't pick up my breathing anymore? Wait. Okay, it picks it up, but just a little bit. It's a lot less than before. Earlier Let's Plays would
You're
pick up my
awake.
breathing, and I
I'll
didn't
go get the
notice it
doctor.
until I watched it on the replay. But at the same time, when I did them live, my voice would interface with, not interface,
There we go.
would be locked in with the
Doctor
other
will be
game,
right here.
which would cause
Where
me
am
to
I?
have
A hospital. in
one
Granite
audio
Field.
file,
We found you in a
and that
big
in
mess.
turn
You don't
left me
seem to
with
have
a
any serious
hard to
injuries.
edit mess of footage.
Were you evacuated from
Don't
the PC
worry, I
continent?
still want to do live commentary
PC
videos, but just
continent?
post commentary for
You don't remember?
this game seemed fitting because,
don't know.
my goodness, it's long,
I don't remember anything.
and
You must be in shock.
it's also just a
It's
case
okay
where
if you don't remember
if
right
I
now.
kept commenting
Take it
on
easy.
Game Industry Graveyard as I was doing it
You'll be
live, I
alright.
probably would have
It's
lost my
okay.
mind.
I'm here with
It
you.
was so
I'm Henri.
so long to do the
You-
Game
you
Industry
remember
Graveyard
your
and the
name?
Floating Island
My
dungeons.
name?
Especially because they're back to back and they're both similarly long. If you
I'm
put those two
Maho.
dungeons together, I'm serious, you can fit most of Victory in there. I keep bringing up
Maho,
Victory, but that's because
always
Victory is
worry me.
such a weird game to me. I mean, I'll do Rebirth 3, and then
The
after
name
I finish Mark 2,
Is
I'll
Maho.
probably do Victory anyways, because I think Victory's fun.
Yeah.
But Victory will
That's
probably be post-commentary, because I'll be recording off a
Name?
console. And if I'm
Maho.
recording off a console, I don't want to do it live. But given that I can record off console now, I think I want to do Sonic 06, because I love that game.